Friends, it's a pleasure to welcome you. Today we have the next installment on the breakdown of my videos that I have coming up on my channel. It's going to be interesting. Okay, here we go. Friends, I'm happy to welcome you to my channel, and today I'm going to demonstrate to you telekinesis with a large, massive and quite heavy object. This is a tree weighing about 30 pounds, and today I will influence with the power of thought exactly on it. Friends, today we have the next video. As I have already said, this is the lifting of a certain heavy object. If my memory serves me correctly, it was about 30 pounds, although perhaps in the description indicated more, but in fact it was 30 to 40 pounds. But you have to agree, such a weight is pretty big. Did I perform all this in the clearing? I think that many people immediately removed all doubts that there were some fishing lines, because it is unlikely that in the forest, where there is empty space on top, you can lift with a fishing line. I think that even on the video it's shown there. Danila, is the sky shown there or not? Did I record the video with the sky?
The camera is just standing there like that, where the trees are pictured with the sky.
I guarantee you that if there was a crane in the woods, there would be a couple cops standing right next to us and demanding all of our paperwork. You can't mess around with that kind of thing here, so I had to do everything for real. And of course I couldn't keep the whole thing in the air for long, but I think about 30 seconds of Siddha was going on.
Ernst, I was going to ask you about the fishing line, but you've already answered it. The question then is how much time you had to prepare, because yes, I know your techniques, I use them a little bit, I move around a little bit, and it's like the first time we see this video, I remember my reaction, and even I've seen a lot of your online demonstrations, yes, but it was such a mild shock because it's a very heavy object. I just can't imagine. I can't imagine how long it takes to prepare to lift it. Can you describe step by step what on this day, on the day of the shoot, you did on this one?
I can even tell you a little bit more. I got the idea about a week before the shoot, and I spent the whole week preparing. Mentally I was tuning in, I was building up energy, and very importantly, if you tune into a certain Siddha, you must not drain that energy on other Siddha. So for the whole week I was absolutely pristine in terms of other Siddha. I did nothing and only mentally tuned in. Every day was meditation, every day was mental. I mean, I was working through the whole thing in my head. I just saw it. I mean, for me there is such a critical weight. It's about half a pound. Up to half a pound I can move any object without preparation. Then somehow the brain itself starts to resist. And a person starts to doubt. It's like skiing downhill with a super slope, when an athlete works it out in his head 10 times before he even goes downhill. So that's exactly how I worked through it here. Probably as soon as I got the idea, I spent a week, every day a couple of hours working on it. On the day of the shoot I had a total fast. If I'm not mistaken, it was on a Sunday, and I started fasting on Saturday, because it's best to be in the fasting state before doing the Siddha. So there was a 2-day fast. Because the energy that we have stored up, it is not always right. So it's best to stick to light fasting for these things. I drank only water, and I'll tell you honestly that the first attempt failed. I think it even rained lightly, if I'm not mistaken. The second attempt was more successful, but again, I wasn't able to keep it up for long. There, if I'm not mistaken, it was up in the air for around 30 to 40 seconds. It's pretty hard to work in general in this case, in the sense that you have a hard time getting a grip on the subject, because if you work exactly sit on some object, you have to visualize it, you have to see it. And the brighter, the clearer you visualize it mentally, the better. But it is rather difficult to visualize a tree with all its branches. Here we are already moving to some abstract level. Here we have to choose a compromise. And it would be possible that there was still a probability that it would not work, but the goodness of the universe worked out, and here you have this video in front of you.
Ernst, and here you use all the time the word that you tune in. Yes, there are 7 days before that, where you tune in mentally there on the Sith preparation. And what exactly are you doing here?
Initially, you work out the idea, that is, first you imagine what you should get in the end result. Then there is a process of visualization. You visualize the process itself, what should happen. Then there is energy generation, that is the next stage. Because the very idea of visualization without additional powder, as you understand, a shell will not fly out of a cannon. And just before you do it, you have to connect your image with this object, and only then it will work. It will work. On big objects only if you really manage to catch the right chakra and release your visualization through this chakra. As I said before, on dead objects it works on any chakra. So you don't need any special preparation, you don't have to prepare, you don't have to basically get highly attuned. You can do it like this, by extromission. That's about what I call preparation. It is likely that other masters have other techniques of preparation, but this is enough for me.
And once and for all, the last question on this topic, what's the heaviest weight you've ever lifted in your life?
No. The heaviest item was, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere around 2006 or 2007. I was still with my teacher then, and he suggested that I experiment, but at that time I was getting energized on a regular basis for 20 days, and plus we had a physical transfer of energy by connecting our hands. And I think it was in the States or Canada, I don't remember, but the trick was I picked up a motor from a Ford, I think it was an old Ford. It was on some line somewhere, but it wasn't for a great distance at all, about 10 centimeters, about 2 seconds. And then it collapsed, it snapped, it collapsed. You know why? Some kind of disbelief. It's a bit like Nell jumping off the roof, his first jump. If you remember, he flew a little bit and then Vera let him go. And then he fell, hit the pavement. It's exactly the same here. I'm not sure if I can hold it any longer, but it's about 200 pounds, somewhere around that. It's one of the older ones, so it wasn't very big. So that's the weight. But after that, I tried not to take big weights, because actually you have a very strong lack of energy after that. Very strong. Then you have to regenerate, well, probably about 2 weeks before you fully recover, so you don't feel it physically. It's not that you lifted a barbell, but your field is so weakened that you risk even piercing your physique in doing so. So you risk either missing some negative energy or essence or whatever, or just your organs could get sick out of the blue, because I'm used to my subtle bodies protecting me, and I think of them as my body armor. Without them, I'm probably already very susceptible to attack from the outside. Friends, I thank you for your attention. I hope today's episode was of interest to someone. Subscribe to our channel, put likes, click on the bell not to miss the next issue. We will still have a lot of interesting things for you. See you soon. Friends, if you are interested in the topic of Siddhas, the topic of superpowers, we are happy to inform you that we have a group where we train people. And we give training from the very beginning. That is, you get a base that gradually progresses to siddhas such as telekinesis, pyrokinesis, levitation. At some points we will even cover higher siddhas such as teleportation, so don't miss your chance. Whoever is interested, subscribe. The link to the recording will be in the description. Friends, we look forward to seeing you in our group.